That was really revealing. And again, I think in all the years that we spent together, it doesn't matter what's going on in the world, in society, there are still clients that want a way to talk about their advisor and the experience in a compelling manner. And that's what the main thing is.
Well, and the beautiful outcome, if you reverse engineer back from advocacy and what all of this does, there's just a multitude of benefits because, first of all, the mindset of looking at all of this disruption as an opportunity, you get to push back and address the law of familiarity, which creates loyalty fatigue in existing relationships. You get to accentuate your fee worthiness, and you get to be more forward facing with your clients so they know where this is all going for the purposes of catching and capturing money in motion as things unfold. And it's all wrapped in a proprietary deliverable. It's not just that you're a good person with good skills and intentions. As a fee-for-service professional, you're actually creating a proprietary asset that adds to your enterprise value and so many other things. So I'm very, very excited about this.
No, and thanks. And I'll tell you something else. One of the things I think of when we started working together 10 years ago, how significant that was in the last 5 years, as those of us at Advisor Protocol that have had client interaction and all the things that we share with advisors. This is where the rubber meets the road, and that the branding idea and increasing enterprise value and compelling best clients, excuse me, to proact, not to react, to go out and tell your story because they want to. Here's one of the things that, and if you haven't heard us say this before, jot this down. 3 really simple words, but I say they're so foundational, and that is human nature component. And let me say this, I'm not smart enough to have come up with this on my own. I just started to hear it so much from clients and from the advisors that were sharing a meaningful client interaction with us. And this is what I mean by human nature component. This is what we were hearing. Clients would say, why does my advisor interact with me differently than any other service professional or any other relationship I have in my life? And we heard everything from the person I know at the grocery store to the mechanic to veterinarian came up a bunch, to people that travel, the way I communicate with airlines, which is a whole other thing, of course. But clients were saying, I don't really get it. There seems to be this focus still on the fundamentals of what you do as an advisor, and you act like you don't really even know what's going on in my life. And I'll say this, and there you see it right on the screen. If you don't, everything we do has a human nature component to it, and you have to bring that into conversations. We don't just talk about a shift away from products, pricing, performance. You have to get to the philosophy, the blending strategy, and the process in a compelling way. And what we know is that there's relationships being left on the table by not making the simple shift. And Duncan, of everything that we've talked about for 10 years, I think human nature component comes right to the surface of every client interaction, just for the reasons you mentioned a minute ago.
Well, and this is so much beyond slogans, mission statements, jargon. This is what the elite are doing to stand out, and it just provides so much substance. It makes it more tangible, and to get to this, I mean, and I'm so excited because the ability to create brands within brands. Okay, so that there are layers that your clients can really connect with, because like you, Steve, I mean, I'm constantly asking fee-for-service professionals, what specifically do your clients trust? What is it? And there was a time, it was a minimum requirement. They trust your credentials, they trust your technical ability, they trust your integrity as a person and the people on your bench. Well, the key is to make sure that they identify with the practice and the client experience it creates, and the process and how that puts all the pieces of the puzzle together. If your clients can internalize all 3 of those brands, there's an accretive outcome where 1 + 1 + 1 equals such incredible outcomes, especially now based on what we've been through.
Yeah, there's no question. And you mentioned something else too. So the client interaction was one thing, but having advisors come back and say, this is what's really working, that connects to what clients have told us. And you've said it so much before. It's signal to noise ratio and all the background stuff and what clients have said, just connect with me. Just I take it for granted, just as you said, the people in the practice. And if you're asking me to advocate on your behalf, if all I have is the people in the practice, here's what clients have told us, Duncan. They do trust that. They feel strongly about it. But when they communicate only people in practice to friends and family members, what they hear back is, hey, cool, give me the card. I don't really need, I have a people in a practice, for lack of a better description of how they actually say it. I have a people in a practice, but if it ever falls apart, give me the card and I'll reach out. And so what clients have told us, I feel silly. If all I'm going to describe is the people in the practice, then I feel silly. And so you're right about the process. And I want to point out a couple of things here quickly. Forget the pieces. A lot of you know what Advisor Protocol does in collaboration with Pareto Systems, and we're proud of that relationship for sure. And taking the idea of shoot your trailer and combining it into the 7 pillars on one side and then the Venn diagram on the other side. And when we talk about meaningful communication that compels clients, the whole idea of the 7 pillars, where you can say, hey, we come to the relationship maybe through wealth management, but we do so many other things, that is a human nature component. Clients describe you how they come to a relationship with you. And if they're left to their own devices, that's all they'll ever say. So the whole idea, the very word process is not singular. It indicates pieces and there are steps, and that is a difference maker in the mind of a client. But more importantly, and Duncan, I want you to comment on this in a second. This is where the human nature component thing this year really hit me in the face. All of you on with us know family, occupation, recreation. If you're around Pareto, it's part of your intellect. But here's what you have to do. Clients have told us, I got a call from my advisor in June. And the advisor said, hey, the market, we just got, the snot kicked out of us in March and April. But we're back. The market's back, feeling good. We know that you're feeling good. And we're optimistic about the future. Well, about the market, we had clients that actually reached out to us and said, this is what they said. And no, I'm not feeling good. I'm homeschooling my kids. I've got, a parent or a grandparent that's in a facility or a hospital that I can't even visit. I've had a spouse that's been furloughed, laid off, took a cut in pay. And yeah, the recreational bucket list, just non-existent. So it's this simple. When you call your clients and you lean on the Pareto fundamentals, you have to volunteer. You probably have kids of your own. If you're not asking, hey, how are the kids? What's going on? What's happening with your school district? Are you doing the hybrid thing? They're in school, they're out of school. How are you feeling about that? What's going on with the job situation? It's written right there for you. Everything you've learned from your business advisor at Pareto, and we put it right in the piece. It leads you down the path. You have to ask, what's going on? Everybody's still working? What's happening there? Recreation, hey, I know we were going to buy that island 10 years from now. That's kind of up for grabs right now, isn't it? But listen, we're never going to lose sight of what matters. Let's talk about those things. And it is sort of, Duncan, we talked about this too. It's kind of like a therapy thing. You have to be willing to dive in to the hard conversations. And professional contrast, if you do dive into those hard conversations and bring up those words, man, oh man, our clients responding to it in a big way. Talk about advocacy.
Well, and a lot to unpack there. I mean, the point about, caring. I mean, the minimum requirement is a client expects you to care. What this does is shows them that you care about what they care about.
Right.
That's a profound distinction. Now, and I want to back up for a second, because this relationship between Pareto and Advisor Protocol, as everyone can see, you bring our approach to life. It's so that people don't have to reinvent the wheel, and you take them home and let them check the box, which is very, very powerful. But what's really essential to activate that advocacy in having this professionally branded, it trains clients to pinpoint unmet needs that a friend or a family member has, and helps them make the connection to what it is they want and aspire to, based on the premise. And, we talked about this before, but, for someone to get hired, that means someone's got to get fired.
Right.
Those two dynamics generally have to occur. So there has to be a form of disruption where it's not change for the sake of change. And on the point of this display here, when you talk about the Venn diagram and the 7 pillars, I mean, what I like to remind everyone is that you're not a wealth manager.
Right.
Wealth management is commoditized. Wealth management is part of your process. It's not about wallet share and gathering assets. You're not an insurance broker selling insurance products like long-term care. Risk management solutions, they're all part of your process. You don't refer a client to an accountant because you're a nice person. You engage the CPA into the process so the client has the complete picture. This is what I want them to internalize. So what this main thing does is enables your team to articulate value, whether it's face-to-face, on the phone, on a virtual platform. You do so much talking. The more you can verbalize your value, the client can internalize and then go out and socialize when you're not there. That's what this does. And of course, very gratifying to see so many people somewhat in disbelief at how effective this is during arguably the biggest headwind the world has ever seen.